To be the way that it has become. I know that I can't change what's wrong. The damage can't be undone. On the verge of a breakdown, I can feel it in my bones. On the verge of a breakdown, I don't wanna lose control. So please don't leave me all alone in this world, with no one there to call for help. I can't stop thinking I'm losing against the war inside myself. On the verge of a breakdown, I can feel it in my bones. On the verge of a breakdown, I don't wanna lose control. So please don't leave me all never wanted this world to be the way that it has become. I know that I can't change what's wrong. The damage can't be undone. On the verge of a breakdown, I can feel it in my bones. On the verge of a breakdown, I don't wanna lose control. So please don't leave me all alone. We are the ones who don't know what we're fighting for. Give us a gun and send us all off to war. We are the ones who grow up in violent homes. We are the ones who don't know what's right or wrong. I know. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No more. We are the ones who don't know why we're losing score. Give them a badge so they could send us to the morgue. We are the ones who attempt to walk out the door. We are the ones who don't know what we're dying for. I know. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones
Joke, your home for all things combat sport, and the place where every armchair quarterback can feel like getting brought. The views and opinions presented on the ImNoBookie channel belong solely to the person expressing, no one else. If we say that. That being said, this show does contain adult themes, adult content, and general shit that you shouldn't be letting your kids get. Advised, viewer discretion is recommended. Proceed at your own risk. Been warned. It's Thursday. It's ImNoBookie. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of appropriate ages, to the latest episode of the ImNoBookie podcast, show where every armchair quarterback is today, as like 3 days, recently at least, I am flying this one solo dolo, at least with the golf years on the road, traveling right now, picking up Romanov. Safe travels on the road. Should be here this evening, assuming no flight delays or anything like that. I'm not sure about the young gunner. We might not. Either way, today, as you can kind of tell, everything has just been completely out of whack. My entire day is all kinds of upside down. But we have got all sorts of shit to talk about. We've got so fucking much on that course going down. I believe there's 5 major cards and like 9 like cards going down over the course of the weekend. As we speak right this very moment, I'm checking up the side here. PKF Fort Lauderdale. BeltranVsTate is actually going on right now. Kind of a mixed bag of the card. Not a whole lot on there to really be excited about outside of the main event and the home main event. That being said, we're 2 fights out from the co-main, so we will get there in due time. Give a quick little relapse of that card a little bit. Before we get into the mountain of upcoming combat sports we have got to go over for this weekend, I do want to give a quick bit of a recap from last weekend. Say show to do a quick bit of recap. First out, Bellator 1 fucking flat out 1 fucking 4. Prelims were fucking, the Bellator prelims were almost better than the entire UFC card unto itself. I highly recommend what we're fighting for. Meanwhile, the team now and the crazies kicking off this weekend. Absolutely go back and check out that fucking spectacular. Bobby Cerrone III. Holy shit, that young man got nut kicked twice. After the second one, you can tell he got him angry because he knocked that motherfucker clean out right after. Just beautifully fucking and big came out. Did get clipped, was in a bit of trouble for just a second there, closed himself, turned around, and absolutely fucking demolished the man that they sent in there. We are the ones who big don't know why we're losing. He's on a fucking roll, man. Down there with Henry Hook and all those fucking killers, it's gonna be hard to stop. He's up at heavyweight now, he's not cutting weight anymore, so he's big and fucking strong. He's starting to put the real power problem. Heavyweight division. I don't think it's going to be too much longer before we see him really start to get the title eliminator shot and get up in that belt conversation. Realistically, it's going to be hard to deny him for much longer. I've got to say, speaking of things coming out of that fucking Henry camp on Aaron just looked fucking spectacular. You can actually legitimately every aspect of the game and finally starting to put the pieces together that just look fucking beautiful. And then getting into the craziness that was the co-end. I gotta say, I thought the Improv was gonna be a damn harder fucking fight than it was. Corey was absolutely in there dominating really wrestling until he made the mistake that stopped the fight. It is a bit of a controversial thing because while Nemkov was on the ground and Corey was on top, Corey jumped forward to throw a big heavy strike down, and when he jumped forward, he flashed head, and it literally put like a finger size of length and width gash across the entire eye of Nemkov that immediately like bleeding right down into his eyeball. The doctor comes in, checks it out, stops it immediately. Because it's the tournament, this is the finals of the Grand Prix, they are going to hold off. Nemkov retains his belt for now, but the tournament belt and the $1 million prize for the tournament are both on hold. They are going to wait until Nemkov's eye is healed, and they're going to run this back for the belt and money. That being said, Corey Anderson is talking a whole lot of shit in the media for a dude who doesn't understand how to do the ground and pound and plays his being ready to fuck. He absolutely 100% understands caused the clash head. By the way, he was ridiculously fucking goofy, jumped, flung himself at Nemkov instead of throwing the same exact strike from the position he was in to hold the pressure down on him. Because he didn't get any leverage by throwing his body, he actually disrupted him in the entire fight. So, you know, duh. I am happy to see that they did call that a no contest. Go ahead and run that back and pull up in front and on the belts. I think that was the right decision. Even if Corey is talking all this shit, run it back, let everybody be healthy, start at the scratch, Corey just fuck it up. That being said, jumping over to the main. We talked about it last week. We talked about it a bunch. The old adage about waking up and so cheap and going to train can absolutely be true, and we 100% prove that by not only giving up the belt, but giving us the O in his undefeated ranking and any leverage he might have had to try and request higher pay like he was so very openly doing right before this fight. Went out there, got sloppy, let his ego dictate the pace, dictate the fight, and just let Pitbull get off whenever he wanted to, however he wanted to, wherever he wanted to in that fight. You could absolutely tell that he was more concerned with being flashy, with being showy, and trying to make a presentation of the fight than actually taking the fight seriously, trying to legitimately win the fight. Pitbull might not have been on the freshest point of his A game, but you can absolutely tell that he was taking it very seriously. He was very focused, he was very motivated, and he wasn't here to fuck around. He wasn't playing, he wasn't goofing off. He was 100% fucking driven on getting that damn belt back. And that's exactly what he did. AJ McKee essentially threw away his opportunity to, dominate Bellator and make himself incredibly wealthy, exactly the way that he had been calling for in the media, by doing the one thing that we talk about all the time you can never do in any fight that means anything, and that's completely overlook your opponent. AJ McKee completely disregarded Pitbull concepts. The way that he finished the first fight was absolutely the same exact way or worse the second fight was going to go, and rather than working to make sure that was a distinct possibility, he kind of rested on his laurels. Look at any of the social media, you can absolutely tell. And if you look on the opposite side of that coin, Pitbull said himself, 4 or 5 days after the fucking fight the first time, he was back in the gym because it pissed him off the way that the first fight went off. And instead of taking the results and accepting them and moving on, he put the fire back in his fucking belly, got back in the gym, and fixed the things that were obvious problems in the first fight. Because several times you saw AJ try to do things that were similar to what happened earlier in the first fight, and Pitbull was just shutting down. Not to say that AJ gave the fight away, but congrats to Pitbull on getting his belt back. Since then, AJ McKee has come out and said that he has no interest in cutting it back down to 45 to count Pitbull for the belt. Third time, we've gotten a little bit of news come out since then. We talked about some of the weight. I guess that's really everybody for the public announcement before the fight last week. and shut pit bulls down and definitively
And I'll take with me the memories to be
he's not going to challenge for the belt. That's to run it back. He's going to have to do it at 55. Also, there's a pit bull brother on either side of the fucking choice he makes here, and it's not going to be easy to walk either direction, but honestly, it's more telling of how he handled that loss than it was how he handled the win. He did with that win exactly what you would think somebody. He let it go right to his head. Young kid is an undefeated streak and he just won a belt. So he let it go right to his head. And on one hand, it's understandable. On the other hand, for as much shit as he's talking, and as much as he's trying to do, he should have had his head about him or at least had someone in his inner circle to help keep his head about him. So that being said, like I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, last week's UFC card was pretty fucking horrible. Top to bottom, legitimately, it was pretty fucking horrible. Not that Bellator's card was spectacular, I'm sure, but in comparison, it was bad. Opening up right out the gate, Kevin Kroom got knocked out in 5 seconds to get that fucking card opened up. That, I will say, was exciting. A little crazy, but exciting. Comes in, gets high post twice. Adds, stays composed, does the thing. And then one of the several controversial matches of last week's card, Beast Boy himself, Chris Barnett, got a rib hurt from a knee early on. And then, while he was up against the fence, gets a very deliberate back of the head shot from an elbow. And they go to a judge's decision. Like, this is just one of several fights on the card that came down with a very controversial fucking ending. They're really trying to push, I think, almost in light of the Aljamain Sterling situation, the fact that there is technically a rule in place in a 3-round fight. If the fight is in the 3rd round and it's stop, they still go to the judge's card. If it's a 5-round fight and they make it to at least the 4th round, and then an illegal or a foul that results in the end of the fight, they still go to the fucking judge's scorecard, which doesn't make any sense to me. If there's a foul that stops the fight, the person that committed the foul is done. It's too much. That wasn't even supposed to be still playing, so that's awesome. Probably just ruined the whole fucking intro of the first 10 minutes of the video. That's cool. Thanks for catching that, guys. I appreciate you. Oh, craziness. That's awesome. Today has just been fucked all the way across the board. So, yeah. So now I'm fucking aggravated. because that's time I can't get back, and shit I can't re-speak because it was off the top of the head notes, and now I'm frustrated. So we're just gonna forget all about that, and we're gonna go with the news here. Hope the Galti shows up soon, or I'm just gonna call it for the rest of the fucking show here. It's been a bad day. This just ain't helping. So that being said, there were fights last weekend. News and recent events for you fine folks. Since hopefully now you can at least fucking hear me. Thanks to my computer shitting on it. Despite literally getting walking papers last week, Chase Sherman has officially gotten himself a third contract with the UFC. After going 2-5 in his first stint with the UFC, 1-3 in his second stint in the UFC, and then leaving on a loss after Alexander Romanov needed a last-minute replacement for his fight with Tanner Boser getting injured last week. The UFC has called Chase Sherman back for a third stint in the UFC. They have not announced whether it is a multi-fight contract or just a single fight contract to pick up this late last-minute fight, but we will see Chase Sherman back in the octagon Saturday under the UFC banner. Speaking of injuries fucking up fights, not this coming one. Was it 3 weeks out from now? Yeah, 3 weeks out from now, the May 21st card, UFC Vegas 55. Max Grishin has officially been injured, and ironically enough, Jailton Almeida, light heavyweight 205er, is going to step up in weight to the heavyweight division and take on Parker Porter for a short notice change of opponent. Very, very interesting matchup indeed. The June 4th UFC event now has its headliners signed in. Alexander Volkov will be taking on Jairzinho Big Boy Rosenstruik. Both of those dudes could really use a big win, and the headline is definitely going to help for sure. We found out this week, I believe it was confirmed yesterday. Rumors came out over the weekend, but it was confirmed yesterday. Robert Whittaker is in fact injured and will not make it to UFC 275 on June 11th. Marvin Vettori has basically turned around and said that he wants one of the two Smash Brothers, and he doesn't care which one it is. He will take Darren Till. He will take Khamzat Chimaev. Either one of them at 85 pounds he thinks would still make for a great fight. I honestly don't think that he's wrong. I think it would be great. I don't know if the Khamzat would make as much sense as the Darren Till would, seeing as how Khamzat is literally one fight away from the 170-pound belt right now. Fighting up at 185 pounds might not be the best idea, but we'll see what the UFC does for that going forward. Excuse me. In the vein of injuries fucking up fights, sticking with that same theme, the June 18th UFC card, Wellington Turnman has officially been removed. What did they say it was? The healing time is taking longer than expected. In his last fight, he had a fracture in the orbital bone. They thought it would be healed by now. It apparently is not, and is still giving him issues. So Wellington Turnman is officially out. Julian, the Cuban Missile Crisis, is still in though, and now will fight Gregory Buff Obama Rodriguez on the June 18th card. So that's going to be a very interesting replacement matchup. Buff Obama has been on a hell of a fucking run lately. Cuban Missile Crisis was on a hell of a run until he caught himself a pair of Backstreet Boy reunion tickets. So we'll see how that plays out. That's going to be an interesting matchup. It's almost as good of a replacement matchup as the Wellington Turnman was originally, in my opinion, but we'll see how it shakes loose. One of the few actual fight announcements we got this week. UFC 276, July 2nd. That is basically the International Fight Week card. Brad Tavares versus Dricus du Plessis. If you guys have been paying attention, Dricus du Plessis has had, I think, 5 opponents in a row fall out on him in less than 3 months. He had 2 different fights booked and 2 different opponents fell out for each of the fights, causing both of them to get scrapped. He really just can't catch a fucking break. Tavares, I don't really feel like has had enough issues lately to be a concern. I feel like he's probably going to be there, but I also feel like Tavares is the alternative Derek Brunson, the lower ranked Derek Brunson of that division. So I feel like du Plessis is probably going to be able to come in there, style on him a little bit, look good, say that the time off just helped him more, and get back into the flow of things. So we'll see how it actually plays out once we get a little closer to that, though. We got announcement for a boxing match this week, just literally confirmed this afternoon. Another one that has been rumored about for a hot minute now, but is actually somehow coming to fruition despite being kind of fucking crazy. For the first time in, let's see, it does say here, how long has it been? The first time being licensed to fight since September of 2012. So literally almost a decade in the making. Dan Hardy will officially step back into the squared circle and take on none other than Diego the Nightmare Sanchez in an exhibition boxing match. Now, normally I would say, okay, cool. They're both not really top tier. They're going to be exhibitions, so it's not going to be crazy. They're probably going to both make decent money for this, so I'm okay with that. The only thing that makes this a little bit of an issue here is that they are doing this in the O2 Arena in London. Oh, no, excuse me, not the O2 Arena, the AO Arena in Manchester. I apologize. I was looking at 2 different things here. The AO Arena in Manchester, still England. On July 2nd, during UFC 275, 6, I think it's 6. I think it's UFC 276. But they're going to be holding a pay-per-view boxing match during a UFC pay-per-view, during the UFC International Fight Week pay-per-view of all times. So, I mean, good luck, but man, that's going to be hard to draw fucking numbers for sure. A little bit later than that, the July 23rd UFC event got a very interesting last-minute addition to it here. Newcomer Charles Johnson, coming in fresh out of LFA, will be welcomed back by Muhammad Mokaev, fresh off of his fucking stupid fast stoppage of Cody Durden a couple weeks ago. For those of you who do not remember, Cody Durden made some very, very ignorant racist statements after his fucking lucky decision win, I say with air quotes, a while back, and was called out for those ignorant statements by a gentleman of foreign origin, I think is the most appropriate way to say that, in response to the comments made similar to that. Mokaev came in there and beat the shit out of Cody Durden for saying stupid things, basically. So as a reward for that, Mokaev is going to get to go in July 23rd, get back in there against another gentleman making his debut. Good luck to Charles Johnson, but Mokaev looked pretty goddamn good what we got to see against Cody Durden. So we'll see how that plays out going forward as well. We did officially get word from Jorge Masvidal. He has officially broken his silence since the arrest. Ironically enough, on Logan Paul's fucking podcast, which I don't understand how everyone in the sports world is willing to agree that the Paul brothers are fucking clowns, and yet so many people are still turning around and going on Logan's fucking podcast, Dana White included, and now Masvidal as well. That being said, Masvidal did say that typically after a fight that doesn't go the way he plans, he likes to be by himself for a while because he has to think through the events and replay it over to get his head right. In this situation, he didn't get a chance to fully do that. He got angry and then he reacted, but he wouldn't directly address the situation that we all wanted to hear him address because it's still in the process of playing out. So I get that as well. That being said, he basically said that he's going to, at this point in his career, Masvidal is going to start to wrestle seriously after realizing how deficient his wrestling game was against Colby. So literally on the tail end of his career, after having an entire resume worth of issues with wrestlers, now on the downhill slide of his career, Jorge Masvidal is going to take wrestling seriously. And to ironically back up that statement, he went so far as to confirm that he is now going to be moving part-time to stay in Pennsylvania so that he can go work with the Penn State wrestling team and be a little closer to wrestling with one Ben Askren himself to get his wrestling game on point and try and get it to where it needs to be. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. I think it's a little bit of a little too little, a little too late situation for Jorge Masvidal at this point when it comes to wrestling. But, you know, stranger things have happened in the UFC, so we'll just have to wait and see how it actually plays out. We did get word this week on a less fun news note that kind of like we thought was going to happen after a couple weeks ago. Chang Sung Jung, the Korean Zombie, is considering retirement after his loss at UFC 273 to Alexander Volkanovski. We kind of touched on it after the fact, and I'm going to reconfirm it now. I have been a Chang Sung Jung fan for a long time. I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody on the show is pretty vocal about how big of a fan we are of TKZ and have been since prior to him leaving to go do his mandatory military service. The fact that he did that so fucking gracefully and humbly and came back without ever mentioning a fucking word about it and just went on about his fucking career, you can't fucking help but be, you know, in awe of someone who truly embodies what mixed martial arts is and what it should be, like Chang Sung Jung. But on the same note, we don't need to start the normalization of people getting Brian Ortega'd by Volkanovski or by anyone really, and then just taking a little time off and getting back at it. Like, he got his ass beat. He shouldn't have been sent out for the last round. Realistically, he shouldn't have. They sent him out. Luckily, we had a referee that was paying enough attention to not let it go fucking crazy, but it's still, it shouldn't have gotten to that point. So with no malicious intent implied or attached at all, I genuinely do hope we see Korean Zombie hang him up at this point. He's got more than enough to rest his laurels on. He's got more than enough of a legacy. He's absolutely going to end up in the Hall of Fame with the UFC one way or another at this point. He could absolutely go back to South Korea and open a gym, start, you know, become a coach. There's a million things, become an analyst, help open a UFC PI over there. There's a million different things he can do at this point. But I think that fight definitely helps show that realistically, fight wise, that the belt probably isn't in his future. And if you're not going to be able to win the belt, what are you really doing this for? So as shitty as it is, we may have seen the Korean Zombie in the octagon for the last time at this point. That being said, the last little piece of news that I do want to cover here real quick. We have got another we almost are going to have to start calling this the Kevin Lee situation. Miles Johns has officially been suspended for 6 months after testing positive for Adderall and not applying for a therapeutic use exemption, despite being prescribed Adderall since several years now. It's a medicine that he has been prescribed legitimately for years, and for some reason did not apply for a therapeutic use exemption, knowing damn well that it would cause an issue if he tested positive for it. Just, it's stupid. It's stupid. He's officially suspended until where'd it go here? He is officially suspended until August 5th and ended up having to pay $3,500 basically in fines. He now also has to submit a clean test in the state of Nevada before he can get relicensed in Nevada. But this is literally the exact same thing that Kevin Lee just fucking did not that long ago, because he was literally too lazy to fill out the paperwork for a therapeutic use exemption, which he would have gotten because he had a prescription for the damn medicine. I don't understand why these guys who are on these fucking medicines don't apply for your fucking therapeutic use exemption when you will get it for literally just turning in that paperwork, and then there's no punishment when they find the medicine that you are prescribed in your test samples. It's ridiculous. That being said, though, as I alluded to earlier, we have an absolute mountain of MMA going on this weekend, up to and including the BKFC card that is actively playing out right now. And apparently Tom Shope just beat Bruce Luchmedival in round 3. So they are on to the introduction in BKFC of the British bomber James Lilly, welcoming in Adam Pellerano. So that should be an interesting match. We'll see. I anticipate refreshing this card, or the card I'm looking at over here, in just a few minutes and seeing Lilly via TKO or KO. So we'll see. That being said, going forward, on the other hand, there is a 1FC card tomorrow, but most folks watching this show, or listening to this show at least, probably are not going to recognize any of the names on it. There is some great combat sports taking place on there. They're generally always as good combat sports on one cards, but you might not recognize the name. So if you are looking for something, there's absolutely plenty to watch. There's also an LFA card this weekend. There's a CFFC card this weekend, I believe. There's an XMA card this weekend. There's so many fucking fights going down this weekend. Yeah, there's a one card actually kicks off. It's one of those that goes off first thing tomorrow morning because of where they are. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of fights, but the major ones that we're considering, we're talking about right now, at least, the ones that we are tracking in the group on Tapology.com, who we are not affiliated with or sponsored by or endorsed by in any way, shape, or form. The show does, however, have a pick'em group over on Tapology called ImNoBookie, all one word, or Group 965, depending on how you search. Link is down in the description. It has also been running along the bottom here. Feel free to join. It is open to the public. You are all welcome to come and take your picks head-to-head with us. Like I said, though, in terms of that, we are looking at first tomorrow evening, 9 p.m. Eastern time, Bellator 278, Velasquez versus Carmouche. This is a short card. What is it? 8 fights? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fights. Yeah, 8 fights on the whole card. This is one of the ones that we were talking about where Bellator's doing 2 cards in a weekend. This one, the Friday night one, I believe, is only open to the USO, or the troops in Hawaii. 8 fights, realistically, 3 of them matter, kind of. Christian Edwards versus Grant Neal, more so because Christian Edwards. the co-main event, Enrique Barzola versus Nikita Makhachev. Interesting little guys going at it. And then the main event, Juliana Velasquez versus Liz Carmouche for the ladies 125 in Hawaii, when they have Ilima McFarland fighting Saturday night on the prelims, I believe. Just the disrespect, man. The disrespect by Bellator here. That being said, I'm very curious to see how that fucking belt shakes loose, because Ilima isn't really out of it in any stretch of the imagination, and she should have already had a chance to get it back by now, but Bellator be playing them games sometimes. So what you gonna do? That being said, moving over to Saturday, where we have the biggest portion of the mountain of fights taking place this weekend here. Starting first of the cards we are going to talk about here, the Tyson Fury versus Dylan White boxing card kicks off at 4 p.m. Eastern. Again, this is one of those where most casual fans aren't going to know, but literally one, maybe two names on this whole card, that being Tyson Fury, the headliner, and then his little brother, Tommy Fury, fighting against a legitimate 10-1 boxer on this card. So other little more hardcore folks like us may recognize David Adelaide taking on Chris Healy, which is going to be a fucking spectacular match in my opinion as well. Wembley Stadium is going to be rocking tomorrow. That's for damn sure. Then Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time kicks off the Bellator 279 card, Cyborg versus Blenco 2. Now this one, on the other hand, is a little more of a full card, but not much better name and talent wise. There are a bunch of local Hawaiian fighters on this card, more so than the previous card, but not a whole lot of mainstay household name recognition. That being said, there are a couple on here. Hawaiian boys, Keone Diggs and Bobby King III are going to kick off. That's going to be a great fight. Yancy Medeiros is taking on Emmanuel Sanchez. That's going to be a fucking great fight. Goiti Yamauchi taking on Levon Chokeli. Interesting matchup. Kaya Kamaka III, who we've talked about a couple of times, has been looking spectacular since his release from the UFC, taking on Justin Gonzalez. Another great fucking matchup here. Lance Gibson Jr. back in action. Julia Budd's stepson. Here we go. Ilima McFarland taking on Justine Kitch. They did move it to the main card. Thank fucking goodness. It was originally on the prelims, and goddamn it, that would be infuriating. Looks like they did move it to the main card now, though. Kyoji Horiguchi taking on Patchy Mix in 135-pound division. That's going to be a spectacular, fucking crazy fun matchup. Juan Archuleta versus Rafael Stotts for the Bellator interim bantamweight belt. That's going to be a very interesting matchup here. I have a feeling Archuleta has a little bit more anger, but I think Stotts has a little bit more skill. So that's going to be cool to see play out. And then the main event that no one asked for, Chris Cyborg versus Arlene Blenco the second time around, which I don't think anyone other than Arlene Blenco and her camp think that this fight's going to go any fucking different than the first fight did, seeing as how Blenco is still a sub 500 fighter at 15-8 at this point. Just frustrating. Just frustrating the way the Bellator is doing some of their belt shit over there. Excuse me. That being said, the reason for the season, the main card in terms of name recognition for the weekend, anyhow, UFC Fight Night Vegas 51, I believe. Or no, I think it's Vegas 52 this time around, I believe. Fight Night LemosVsAndrade. Now, I didn't say it was good. I said there was name recognition there. So there is a very, very, very distinct difference in those two. That being said, there are absolutely more recognizable names for the average MMA fan on the UFC card this weekend. Maybe not in the best of matchups, so excuse me. Opening up the card for some fucking reason, we have the return of the least serious MMA fighter in the world, more known for his online racism than his actual fighting ability, because he's a fucking scumbag like that. Mike CM Punk couldn't be beaten Jackson, taking on Dean Barry. I think this is the third time they have rebooked this fucking fight for some reason. Dean Barry making his debut, and again, one of those situations where he 2 days from 48, less than 48 hours from the fight right now, still doesn't even have a fucking profile picture up on the UFC website. We are sitting less than 2 days from the fight at the player character not unlocked in the game mode, for fuck's sake. Just, we're goddamn ridiculous, I tell you. We're goddamn ridiculous. That being said, we go from that to Marcin Prachnio versus Felipe Lenz at light heavyweight directly after that somehow. That is an insane fucking fight that got stuck on the prelims. Not that they're world breakers, but both of those dudes have potential to do some fucking craziness in that cage. So it's going to be interesting to see how those two get back after it. Little further down, still on the prelims though, Tyson Pedro versus Ike Villanueva at light heavyweight. So they're bringing the fire. They're bringing the fire on the prelims for damn sure. Dwight Grant getting back in there. The quote unquote premier prelim card fight. Jordan Wright versus Marc-Andre Barriault. We've seen Jordan Wright look pretty fucking good in there. We've seen Barriault on a hell of a resurgence lately as well, though. So kind of interesting to see how that one shakes loose. That being said, that'll bring us over to the main card for the evening. But before we get into the main card, I did mention we are doing the Tapology.com picks. We did figure out over the course of last week how we will be able to broadcast a live update stream for those of us or for those of you who are going along, for those of us on the show, at least for myself, Golf T, RJ. We've even got a couple of folks. The Avocado for Liberty is in on this as well. So we've got some picks that we're going to post for the shit that we pick. I figured out how to do a live update stream. We can roll the Eddie and the Arson's tunes. That way we don't get fucked with. And it will live in real time update all of our picks for all the cards. And with this weekend, both of the Bellator, the UFC, and the Fury versus White card, all four had picks on Tapology. So we have got potentially 16 different update cards that we're going to set a slideshow to constantly refresh and update and flash while the Bellator and the UFC cards are playing out Saturday evening here on the ImNoJoe YouTube channel. There will not be anybody monitoring that stream. It's basically an automated stream just to let you guys, if you're not watching the fights, if you are interested in the Tapology picks, it shows all of our picks and updates in real time. And you get basically 2 hours, 2.5 hours of Eddie and the Arsons and Adam Punchy Kicky tunes. So that's a good time. Keep an eye out for that over the weekend here on the ImNoJoe YouTube channel. That being said, jumping into the main card for UFC this weekend, they are actually opening with one of the more exciting fights on the card, in my opinion. Lando Vannata versus Charles Jourdain. Lando Vannata has legitimately been on a bit of a resurgence lately, and Charles Jourdain is one of those prospects that just showed up with attention glued to him and has not let it go ever since. Very, very interesting featherweight fight, in my opinion. Rolling up from there, we get to that Alexander Romanov versus Chase Sherman fight that I talked about a little bit earlier here. Now, again, I don't know if Chase got a 1-fight contract just for this, or if they use this as an excuse to give him like another 3-fight contract and give him another chance. We'll find out one way or another. Realistically, Chase Sherman should be able to have his way with Romanov. That being said, Chase Sherman has had a real rough go of things lately, which is literally why the UFC had very little issue letting him go. Did he get his shit together enough to make him stand out and show the UFC why they should keep him? Or is he just going to show up with the same lackadaisical amount of effort he's been putting in lately that got him cut from the UFC to begin with? We will find out. Here we go. And what I tell you, I refreshed the BKFC result page. James Lilly defeats Adam Palermo via knockout 40 seconds into round 1. I didn't think it was going to happen that fast, but I literally just said this is what was going to happen a little while ago. I don't know how the main event's going to play out because Joey Beltran did literally almost choke to death this morning and had to actually be saved by David Feldman, the owner and manager, promoter, whatever, founder of BKFC. That story is actually in the Discord. If you guys are interested, check that out. For those of you who are new to the show and are not aware, the news and recent events that don't quite make it to the show, or things that are just too fucking weird to talk about on the show, do get posted over in the I'm No Joe's Discord server so that you guys can all read and entertain yourselves there as well. We do also talk about the fights during the fights over on the Discord server. We also have the Tapology group. You are also welcome to join as well. Both kind of play off of each other there. That being back over to the UFC side of things here. Uh-oh, look at this.
Back
How
from
goes
the
the
airport.
sunshine?
And it's going. Enjoying my week off. Running people places, picking people up from airports, waking up.
Running that taxi life.
You know, God forbid I enjoy my vacation with nothing to do. Had to have kids.
Of course.
Dumbass.
Oh,
Well, worth it.
that's
So,
all good.
Where are we at? Are we breaking shit down yet, or?
Yeah, so we literally just got to the People's Co-Main event, unfortunately, as it gets to be called, for the UFC card here. Macy Barber versus Montana De La Rosa.
I don't even really want to talk about that one, but I had to make a pick, and I picked Barber because I think she'll just fucking outpoint De La Rosa, because as much as De La Rosa's ground game's good, she reminds me very much so of the Happy Warrior, Roxanne Modafferi, with the way she fights. So chances of Macy blowing out a fucking knee again while she's fighting, probably a lot slimmer than it was before.
Right. No, I agree. I was a fucking full-on homer for Montana De La Rosa when she first made it into the UFC, regardless of her husband being a fucking clown and blowing his fucking chance right out of the gate. She legitimately did show a good amount of potential, in my opinion, when she first got into the UFC. But like TJ mentioned, we very clearly saw in a Happy Warrior-esque style, she is a ground game fighter. She just, despite being in mixed martial arts, very much has a problem with mixing anything other than jiu-jitsu together with her fight strategy. She's clearly oriented in jiu-jitsu and clearly very good at it, but she has trouble with even mediocre strikers, and we've seen it a couple times now. Not that Macy Barber is a world breaker in striking, but she's got a decent enough wrestling background that she should be able to put up with the jiu-jitsu attempts from De La Rosa. And as shitty of a fighter as she is, her striking still realistically might be good enough to get past De La Rosa's fucking guard and do enough points. I don't think it's a stoppage. I don't think there's a stop in this fight any stretch of the imagination, but I agree. I think she could point it out here.
I just think Macy Barber's, her striking's gonna, or let me put it this way. De La Rosa's fucking lack of striking is gonna make Macy Barber's striking look phenomenal.
I was
come
gonna say, it's
Saturday.
not that Macy Barber's gonna do anything great. It's that De La Rosa is so fucking negative skill-wise in her striking game. She's gonna make Barber look good. I agree 100% here. And I don't want it to be that way, but I agree completely. I think that's how it's gonna fucking play out as well.
Yeah, it's a sad fact. God, it is a sad fact.
It absolutely is.
And
the
don't get me
fact
wrong, Macy Barber had a hell of a hype train going until that knee blew out. Once that knee blew out, that completely disrailed her. And
Right.
you can tell since that her mind is not the same as it was where she had that hard bull-nosed fucking I'm gonna fuck everybody up attitude. It's not that same way. Kind of snapped her out of that.
Right.
She's got to find that again to get anywhere again.
Well, and ironically enough, in the very fight that put her on that path, that was actually a great example of the reverse of what we're looking at potentially coming into here, because that was a fight where she went and got her knee fucked up and then got pieced up on the hand side of town by Roxanne Modafferi in that fight, who herself does not have the greatest striking, but was able to put one on Macy Barber in that fucking fight. And then I think we're going to see kind of the opposite here. I think we're going to see Macy Barber being able to do the opposite, to put the striking hands down on Montana De La Rosa here, assuming that knee is 100%, which, hey, I hear you. I hope so for your sake, because if not, that's going to ruin your weekend.
I hope so. Look, I don't wish long-term career-ending injuries on any fighter, no matter how much I dislike them or not. And I think the only thing that makes it harder is Macy Barber fights out of Wisconsin, and generally, I root for the hometown ones, but I can't on this one. I just can't fucking do it.
Well, ironically, that's what it was. That was the other one that I saw. The other card that's going down this weekend, there is a, what do they call it? It was something weird. It was like Battle of the Curd Heads or some shit like that. It's a fucking a small time Green Bay fight card going on. It was like 7 fights, and all of them were like 0-0, 0-0, 0-0, 1-0, 0-1. Like it was a bunch of apparently local boys, but it somehow made its way onto Tapology, and I was like, hey, look at that.
And they've got LFA coming to Oshkosh, which is about an hour drive south of me on May 5th.
Nice.
Or no, May 7th. Yeah, it's May 7th because it's a Saturday card.
Yeah.
But 2 weeks from now. I was debating it because tickets are like $40.
That's not bad. And LFA generally puts on pretty good fucking events.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be a bad price for an afternoon of fucking firsthand time.
The problem is when I went and I looked, there's only one name that's recognizable on there. And he's a guy who just came off the last season of The Ultimate Fighter. David Argoletta.
Yeah.
The one who was
who he's
the number one
tearing
pick.
LFA up. Yeah.
Like that would be the only reason. The rest of the card, I was like, I have no earthly idea who the fuck any of these guys are.
Yeah. That does kind of suck. Because LFA isn't, I won't say LFA has a household name filled roster, but there are some notable names on their roster. I think that's a good way to put it. But yeah, but if that whole card is the biggest name on there is the fucking David Argoletta, I get it.
I mean, it's one way to fill the seats here because a lot of people are going to know the Ultimate Fighter and have seen him as the number one pick for.
Right. Yeah. And they'll be able to put 2 and 2 together and shit. Yeah. That'll be good for the show for sure. So that being said, that'll bring us to the co-main event for Saturday night's UFC card. The Carpenter himself getting back after it. Clay Guida stepping in to take on Claudio Puelles. I gotta say, Claudio came out there last time and put on a hell of a fucking show to make his name known. But that wasn't against the dude with as much experience as fucking Clay Guida, for crying out loud. From what I have seen, there is absolutely some potential in Claudio. But he's also got a little bit of ego in him. He's already in his social media completely looking past Clay. And like we just talked about earlier, I don't care how big the fucking stakes are. If you're on the pro level like this, you can't afford to look past your opponent. You just can't. I don't care how fucking good you are. I don't care how long you've been doing this. And in this situation, it seems extra silly because he's the new guy on the block coming against a veteran who literally is in the fucking Hall of Fame. I wish the kid the best, but I kind of feel like he's coming in here a little too high on his own supply, smelling a little too much of what he's selling. And I think an ego check would probably legitimately do him some good at this point. And that's kind of what Clay Guida's really good at. He doesn't come in there with a lot of malice. He doesn't come in there hated, but he's going to sit you back in your fucking seat and give you a little bit of a reality check if you need one. And I think that's exactly what's called for here. I think that's kind of how it's going to play out.
Yeah, and we got a Clay Guida who's coming back in off a win, so he's back in the right column again. So
dangerous, yeah.
That was only 4 months ago, because that was November, December timeframe, somewhere in there. Yeah, so I mean, he's definitely in the right direction, and I mean, with a new up and comer, there's nobody that's going to have as good of a gas tank as you're going to find on Clay Guida. Not anybody in the UFC. I don't give a fuck who it is. You can go down to the fucking itty bitty little 125ers and nobody has a fucking gas tank like Clay Guida.
That, and it's a 3-rounder. So
yeah,
he knows he's only got to go 15. He's gone 25 so many fucking times at this point. 15 is going to literally be a fucking sprint. Like I doubt he's going to slow down at all in the whole goddamn fight. Clay Guida is going to be bouncing from the opening till the fucking closing. And then while they read his name, because Clay Guida.
Yeah. And be prepared to see a belch or two between rounds, and
I fully expect a Clay Guida a belch coming back this weekend as well. I agree.
I give the kid
shit.
Best
not what I expected. Flipped over and refreshed again. Frank Tate knocks out Joey Beltran 23 seconds in round 1. Holy shit. So co-main and main event, both less than a minute into the first round via knockout. James Lilly and Frank Tate respectively win both fucking matches. No shit. I am definitely going to have to go back and watch both of those highlights because it'll take less than 2 minutes to see them both.
Damn.
Wow. To be fair, I called that James Lilly fight live here with you guys. But I did not think that Frank Tate was going to be able to do that so damn quick.
Maybe there was a little sign this morning.
That I literally said just a little while ago. It's genuinely kind of surprising that we even get that headline fucking fight for BKFC after Joey Beltran genuinely almost died at breakfast.
I'm surprised that they actually let him go through with it. But I guess if he didn't seek medical attention or didn't mention it until after,
that's what I was gonna say.
But if it was reported, if it made it into the news, I'm surprised no doctor stepped in to check. We still need to check your airway because a little piece could have gotten down there and fucked him up.
Check your blood pressure, which I'm sure shot through the fucking roof. Yeah.
Back to what I was saying there about the Guida Claudio thing here. Good on Claudia for having a shot at a fucking crafty old veteran, but I don't know that he's going to be able to put up with that type of pace because he's going from what he's used to at lightweight to basically fucking bantam and atom weight pace.
Right.
That's a huge increase. Dealing with that output, Guida is going to be a rough one. And how they're giving this coin flip, I don't know. Because to be honest, I think, in my own opinion, I think Guida is heavily favored, in my own opinion, just purely on crafty old veteran and his gas tank and his drive, because his drive just does not stop. You have to put him out for it to stop.
Yeah, 105 to 115. It's all. It's not quite, but it's on the borderline of insulting at this point to have it so fucking close with Guida having, in my opinion, such a clear advantage going in. Granted, everybody's got a puncher's chance. Every round starts on the fucking feet, but coming in as a new guy against someone like Clay fucking Guida for the odds to be that close. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean,
I don't know.
Look, his last loss was last year in August, right? Guida's, I'm talking about. And he lost to a really tough Mark Madsen. but he pushed Mark Madsen to his fucking limits. And Mark Madsen is a fucking god tier wrestler, so he's got gas tank for days. There's a reason why he's a fucking Olympic wrestler.
That's why he's known as the Olympian still, yeah.
And he pushed him
guys
to
who can still rest on those laurels.
Yeah, he pushed him to his limits as far as wrestling capability is concerned and everything. So this poor kid, Claudio's got a hell of an uphill battle ahead of him. If he pulls it off, props to him, but I don't know. He's mighty young into his career to be pulling something like that off.
Right, that's what I said. For a guy that's young into the UFC and is seemingly overlooking the fight as he has been, going to be a hell of an effort if he can pull it off, for damn sure.
Yeah.
That being said, that will bring us to one of the just honestly saddest main events the UFC has thrown at us, at least this year so far. Number 10 ranked Amanda Lemos versus somehow number 1 ranked Jessica Andrade. Aside from this fight being the main event, just not making a whole lot of sense to me, this matchup in general genuinely does not make a whole lot of fucking sense to me. There is not a whole lot of justification to me to be had in the number 10 taking on the number 1 when there are several fights for either of them in between those grounds. And if Lemos comes in and is able to dispatch Andrade, because she's a fucking striker as well, and she's got genuinely pretty good fucking hands. And we've seen Andrade have a questionable chin in the moment sometimes. So if she can come in and just lay Jessica fucking Andrade out, are we really trying to say that this is the next contender for the fucking winner of Carla and Rose? Really? Really? Number 10 is going to jump the entire fucking division? Not that Andrade, again, should be ranked number 1, but with a legitimate, justified good win, you're going to let her jump the entire fucking division from 10?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, and believe me, I'm trying to wrap my head around the idea of that. And don't get me wrong, the other part of this that I think might be in play here is the possibility that because Jessica Andrade had to change weight classes, this may be the UFC's way of trying to figure out a way to get her out.
That was the other thing that I was thinking.
Because they
on
do
one
that
hand,
fighters.
They do milk that former UFC champion. I'm saying with air quotes for those of you just listening. Anytime they talk about Jessica Andrade in any kind of fucking press now, because she did manage that fucked up whole situation, they really like using that term ex-UFC champion. The downside to that is that we also know no matter how long your reign was, if you've had that belt in the UFC at some point, that generally puts your paycheck in the upper tier. And if you've been promoted into that upper tier of pay scale, but not been earning it, should we say, or putting on less than stellar performances since you've been in said upper tier of pay scale, getting your ass handed to you by the number 10 would be a pretty understandable reason for the UFC to be like, you know what? We're fucking done. You changed weight classes 3 times in 3 fights and you lost all fucking 3 of them. And then you got your ass handed to you by the number 10 gal. No,
might be their way to cut her to Bellator.
Right.
And
because to
Bellator
be fair,
would have a really good pickup in her. I'll say it.
Yeah, no. And to be fair, it's not that I don't think Lemos has the potential, or I have anything against Lemos. I like Amanda Lemos. She's a hell of a fucking fighter, and she's legitimately been making noise in the right ways through her fucking fighting as she's been earning her way up. That being said, somebody who just got to number 10, in my opinion, with other optional fights available, shouldn't be getting the chance to jump this high over other girls in the division like she's getting here. Because realistically, I do think there is a potential that Andrade gets sloppy because she likes to be flashy, and Lemos is pretty fucking tight with her striking, and she's real good with counters. Andrade likes to bull rush. There's a realistic good chance that Andrade comes out, does something stupid, and Lemos puts her face down on the fucking canvas Saturday night. If that happens, I think Golf Tee's right on the money here. I think we see Andrade catch her fucking walking papers from it.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. She and Lemos, I'll give Lemos credit here. She's on a 5-fight streak.
Fuck yeah. Legitimate.
And her only loss in the UFC was her inaugural fight.
Debut, yeah.
And then it was sub-decision, knockout, decision. Like, she's been doing heavy work. So give her credit where credit's due. And then you look across there, and one of two things is happening with Andrade. Either she gets knocked out or she's knocking somebody else out. There's no happy medium with her.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be a toss-up which Andrade shows up, to be quite honest.
Right.
Because if she shows up like Amanda Nunes did when Amanda lost her title, she's in for a rough fucking night. And I mean, we've seen Andrade get put out in the first round inside of a fucking minute. Wiley Zhang did it to her.
Yes, indeed. Efficiency.
I'm just saying, it is very possible, and Lemos has got the fucking hands to do it now. We've seen it. So, I mean, I don't wish ill against Jessica Andrade by any means. I'm going to make that very clear, but kind of hoping Lemos takes her out so that way they can, for lack of better terms, put her out the pasture, because she's clogging up the top of divisions that she's sitting in. Literally just fucking clogging them. Because she's lost to Shevchenko. She's lost to the former champ in the 135-pound division in fucking Wiley Zhang. She's lost to Rose Namajunas, who came back and definitively beat her and showed her, hey, yeah, I'm the queen here. So, I mean, at this point, she doesn't have a whole lot to fight for. Because she'll be lucky if she gets another, because this fight here, if she does win, does not legitimize her for another attempt at Shevchenko, in my opinion. Not by any means. Because she'll just get knocked out by Shevchenko again.
Well, this one's at strawweight, so this would just be back. That's what I said. This would set them up for the fucking winner of Rose Carla again.
Yeah.
And we know that she's not going to get another shot back at fucking Rose after getting her ass handed to her the last time to prove that the first one was a fluke. She sure as fuck isn't going to earn another title shot being number 10.
Yeah. So I highly doubt she gets any title shots anywhere. I mean, that would be the only thing that I guess they could try to pull is, well, if we put this here, maybe we can get a trilogy fight between her and Rose. And to be honest, I don't want that. There is no need for it. She lucked out in the first match because Rose did something stupid. And I'll say it, Rose did something stupid, which caused her to lose the first time. She came back, fixed the fucking mistake, and put her stamp on it. So, to be honest, it's time for Andrade to, maybe she goes up another weight class. Take her to 145. Go play in that 145-pound division.
Well, and with Pena and fucking Nunez doing Ultimate Fighter for 135, that leaves at least 4 or 5 fucking matches open if she wants to go back and play at 135 and then see what comes out there. But she ain't going to make no fucking progress at 115. She's not going to make any fucking progress at 125. Realistically, I think if she does somehow manage to get past Lemos, bulk the fuck back up, go to 135, or like you said, put on an extra little chunk, go play at fucking 45 for a little while, because we know she can cut down, but we also know she can't be competitive with either one of the fucking champions or the top prospects in either one of those lower divisions. She hasn't been at 35 in a while, but we also know the top of 35 is tied up right now. So if she wants to stick around and play, there's opportunities.
I'm just saying, you go take your happy ass to where it's fucking a little bit better suited and a division you haven't sat in. Go up to one. Go to 145, work your way back up. And to be honest, as yoked as she is, she could fight.
We know that she cuts a lot of weight to get down to 25. It's got to be even fucking harder to get to 115. Cut no fucking weight or cut very little weight. Stay at 35 or 45. There's plenty of fun fights and you can stay normal, enjoy pizza and knocking soup cans out. Why not?
Oh, yeah. And make your way up that ladder, because to be honest, that would be a fun ladder to watch her climb.
Fuck yeah. And it would be one she would legitimately seem appropriate in.
Yeah. And I'll mention, then you want to eat the extra slice of pizza? By all means, be our guest. You want to pump a little extra iron? By all means, be our guest. At least, if you're going to make a big cut, then at that point, may as well just cut down to a bigger weight class where you can carry more power.
Right? Make it worth it. Yeah. If you're going to do it, make it a little more fucking practical, a little more beneficial at that point. If you're going to do it, make it for a fucking reason that gives you an advantage, not just so you have other chances to fight and lose, for fuck's sake.
Oh, yeah. Because, I mean, you look at that division, you got, of course, Pinion and Ace. You got Home, who was constantly up at the top of that one, another one they need to cut. Raquel Pennington's over there, Caitlin Vera. Misha Tate's up in the top 10 there. She's got some legitimate work she could do over there. I'm just saying.
Misha's coming back to 25, she said.
What?
Yeah. Misha's coming back down to 25 because she thinks she's got a better chance at Shevchenko than she does at Nunez. She said in a press conference a week ago or so.
Oh, shit. I must have missed that. Well,
yeah,
still,
that's why I was like, bold strategy, Cotton. But hey, if you think you got a better chance at the bullet than the Lioness, fucking go for it. But I don't think either one plays out well for her realistically.
Yeah, I'm just saying there's a pretty big fucking setup there in women's bantamweight. I mean, even as much as I hate to say it, I bet you Kunitskaya would give her fucking problems.
It would make for an interesting fucking matchup, that's for damn sure.
Yeah.
The height difference alone would make for the height and fucking reach would make it interesting.
I'm just saying there's options available to her outside of strawweight and fucking goddamn flyweight.
Yeah, I agree. I think at this point, man, you ain't doing yourself no fucking favors in either one of those fucking divisions. Look at your other options. Because I realistically don't see this being a great fucking main event for the UFC any way, shape, or form how it plays out. But it's what they're giving us. So it's what we've got to work with this weekend. That being said, though, did you have anything from news and recent events that you wanted to go over real quick before we get out of here? Because I covered that early on.
I have no idea what you covered, so I'm just gonna keep my trap shut on this one because I don't want to double dip on anything.
Right on. Well, with that being said, then we are going to call that all for this particular episode. Thank you to everybody who tuned in live. If you are not aware somehow, we do these live on YouTube, youtube.com/ImNoJoe, Thursday nights, 9:30 p.m. Central Time ish. Sometimes a little late because life is a thing. That being said, we're going to try to start for at least the UFC and Bellator events over the weekends. Usually on Saturday nights, most likely we'll have during the main card portion of the fights, I will have a stream up here on the ImNoJoe channel, unattended. We will not be interacting with it. It's not going to be like we're chit-chatting here. It's basically just that, an update stream. It'll have all of a slideshow of all of the picks from our Tapology group here. If you get into the Tapology group, you are more than welcome to send me the link that Tapology creates for you for your picks. We will throw them into the slideshow here. You can watch them on the update shows on Saturday nights. If all goes well and life is according, Sunday nights, we will be doing a What Did I Say show here, recap, to kind of go over and break down and give you all the fun things that played out over the course of the weekend. If not, we will be back again next week, Thursday night, for another show. That being said, you can catch the ImNoJoe podcast on all of the social medias. We are on Facebook and Instagram and all that fun stuff. We do have a Reddit sub-thread. We also have a Discord server that you can join, catch the news, find out about the live so you never miss one, catch neat little stories like I talked about earlier that don't make it onto the show, fan Q&A, all sorts of fun shit on there. We do some live fight talks on there. We do some Discord Tapology predictions and breakdowns and stuff on there as well. It's a fun time. Also, like I said, we are not sponsored by or endorsed by Tapology.com in any way, shape, or form, but we do have a group over on Tapology.com called ImNoBookie, all one word, or Group 965, depending on how you search. Open to the public. Feel free, make yourself a free account, join the group, take your picks and put them head to head against ours. See if you really do know this better than we do, or if we really know what the fuck we're talking about, because stats don't lie. They stay up there and they keep track of all of them for us. That being said, if you'd like to help out around here, first and foremost, make sure you are subscribed and you've got that little notification bell turned on no matter where you are catching this. If it's on YouTube, every Thursday night live. Otherwise, the shows go live in all audio format a week after we do them here live on anchor.fm/ImNoJoe. You can pick them up through your podcast consumption platform of choice, Apple, Google, Spotify, you name it. We're on all those platforms. You can catch them all over through there. If you want to help us out on YouTube, watch more videos. That's all the YouTube algorithm really cares about. That's all I really care about. Watch the videos, learn about what we're doing, find out why we're so fucking goofy and so rabid about what we do. If you want to help out, the best way to do it, patreon.com/ImNoJoe. For as little as $1 a month, you get to help us do what we do. You get your name at the end of every video as a nice little thank you. And it really does just make what we do a little bit easier. And the fringe bonus is that you get access to the unaired and literally unairable footage that we have got in the archive of the ImNoJoe library. Literally things we can't put out there for the public. You alone as a contributor get access to, and you get our eternal gratitude. That being said, if you like what we do, make sure you subscribe and you got the notifications turned on. If you don't like what we do, first off, why the fuck are you still this deep into a podcast you don't enjoy? Give us a thumbs down. We won't dispute it, and fuck on off. That being said, that's all we've got for this particular episode. We do appreciate each and every one of you who tuned in, but we're going to call that all for now. So until next time, remember, folks, don't let ignorance stop you. You can root for anything, unless it's Mickey being his own senator from now on. Oh, no.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. How do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times.